That's a safe operation right there. And look at that. I got something I can do cookies on. So let's do that. Did pretty good, didn't it? So in that little video right there, in that little sequence of operations right there, we covered really the essence of the last year for me. Nice running saw, even though it's fugly as all get out. And yeah, it's ugly. But idles, starts, restarts, good enough power. I probably ought to put a 28 on it. It's got plenty of power. And it's just now beginning to break in. So a lot of its little antics it had when I first was running that saw was really because it wasn't broken yet. You know, the compression wasn't there. I got a couple tanks on it. Another couple of tanks, it'll get even stronger. But what I'd like to do now with that saw is do some cuts, some cookies, and then see if I have taps. And if not, I'm going to take the 572 and we'll do a cookie cut race. It's funny, the only pull I have is this corner right here, and it pulled down into the stump. But that's a good stump for me. Pull a little bit there because I didn't get cut all the way, but no big deal. Yeah, this saw is definitely getting better. Still a little bit soft. I think it still has more in it as it breaks in. Let's see if it restarts, and then we'll start up the 572. And but I'm going to say that this saw is officially work ready. I've got all the little bugs worked out of it in terms of the bar tightening up and the idle being erratic and stalling. Even with the Chinese carburetor, it's settled out. But I really believe that's about it's breaking in more than anything else. And so let's get the 572 on the same stuff. Now remember, it's got a different bar and chain. thing I can tell you is my chain sharpening job on this, it cuts better than I expected, number one. It cuts better than this chain, number two. So the size of the wood's changing a little bit, so let's try this again. I can say quantitatively is where my chain is a little more aggressive, cuts a little bit faster, I think, a little more aggressive rakers. This stock chain, I might lose a little bit of speed, but it's so much smoother. Bore cut's no problem. If you notice when I tried to bore cut with that, it was a little jumpy on the way in, where this one was not. Now the other thing, if you pay attention to the way it was working, was when I got into those bucking spikes up here, it would stall the saw. It wasn't until I got back in here where those longer bucking spikes wouldn't stall the saw. And that is really about where the cutting pressure is on the bar relative to where the bucking spike is. If the cutting pressure is right here, right close to the bar, it's going to stall it every time. But if the cutting pressure is out here somewhere, that longer bucking spike is actually an advantage. So really it works better on the bigger diameter trees, but it hurts you on the smaller diameter of the trees just simply because of the geometry. So let's do another cut with the 572. Even though it's got a 28-inch bar, and even though it's got a filed by Walther chain, it feels like it's cutting a little bit better. And I don't think it's because of the power. I think the reason it's cutting a little bit better is my hand-filed chain is a little more aggressive, because it feels like it wants to self-feed, where this one I have to put a little pressure on. Conversely, this one here for bore cutting is infinitely smoother. So another cut with a 572. We'll go back and forth. I'm not going to change the bar and chain because they're close enough. This is going to give you a ballpark. And the second thing I'm going to say is you can really throw a blanket over these saws in terms of power by the feel. I'll see if the times tell a different story when I get back to the editor. But just by the way it feels, they're about the same power-wise. So this was a very successful build in my perspective. It's got a pop-up in the Muffler Mod. Other than that, it's pretty much standard 572. But this is definitely works already. The way it starts, the way it idles, good power. It tunes itself based on temperatures. I don't have to run a screwdriver like I will with that one. And it'll idle in the tree when I want to go around and look at things. It'll restart first pull, you know. So definitely a successful build. This is going to get it in the way, so it probably won't be a felon saw much. Conversely, this one has a regular handle, and if it continues to perform like it did on video just 20 minutes ago, this one here is going to get a lot of work because it's working well. This is a good saw the way it runs. Nothing over here to get in the way, you know, for my felon cuts. 24-inch bar is enough, but it's an easy starter and it's an easy restarter, and it's those little things to me which add up to make it a good saw or not. So let's do another cut on this one. I'm gonna do two cuts, call it a video. All right, I'm going to put this one away. It's pretty much made its point. And I'm going to use the 572, 2 more cuts, right? And then I'm going to go take off some of those branches and take the top out so I can pull this tree. Well, I cut through a tap. I don't think it hurt anything. So what did we learn? We learned that both those 70cc saws cut real well. That one's work ready, and so is the other one. I think it's work ready. This one's a whole lot prettier though, isn't it? Got to tighten up that chain after those pinch events. And old Walter can file a chain. That thing cuts pretty good. It's going to cut faster than the stock chain. So I figured the more aggressive chain filing, longer bar offsets versus a stock chain on a smaller bar. I didn't have to push on this. In fact, I had to let this cell feed, which is pretty much what I do. Where that one I had to push a little bit in order to make it cut. So that's the Stator C85. And this was an Oregon LGX that got rocked that I filed pretty aggressively to get back to cutting. Cuts nice and straight, cuts good, I'll run it. I'm not going to fell with it because it's too grabby. But the other thing I came up back with is because the saw runs so well, I don't notice these other issues. And actually having that extra thing right here when I was carrying the saw around was a benefit. So I'm going to say for bucking and busting down branches and stuff like that, this saw right the way it is fine, you know. I don't think I'll use it for a felon. I think I'm going to use either the 585 or the 28 It's not because of the power head, it's because of the chain. It's just a little too grabby, and those bucking spikes on this handle. So, but I think it ran good. Nice auto run.